what's up? This is the Rooted Crew back again, and this time we do have another special guest. That special guest is an incredible DJ. He's based in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to describe how I discovered him in a little bit, but his name is Chris Villa. Chris Villa is hot. He's hot as shit. You're going to find out why. We're going to get his origin story, find out where he's from, what he's up to, what his goals are in the future. And pretty much we're going to discover the world of Chris Villa. So without further ado, Chris Villa, ladies and gentlemen, right here in the studio.
What's up, y'all? Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Chris, the first question I've asked everybody is, who are you? And pretty much, what is Chris Villa? What is the origin story of Chris Villa? How is it that we are experiencing this DJ in Arizona named Chris Villa? Who are you, man? Where do you come from? Give me the story.
So I'm in Phoenix. I just fell in love with DJing at a really young age. I don't know what it was. I think it was just a combination of things, hearing DJs on the radio, scratches and songs, seeing it on TV, on cable at my grandparents, because my parents were cheap and we didn't have cable. But
join the club.
But no, my dad was like a really like, he worked for the city of Phoenix. He's retired. He put in like 30 years, but he was a pioneer like within the Parks and Rec department. A lot of community centers. He innovated like a lot of programs that are still around today. And every week he would throw an event, whether it was a car show, talent show, DJ battle, just a community get-togethers, and there was a DJ there. Like that kind of, exposed me to hip-hop, to breaking, to DJing, and just seeing it there, in my face, and I just wanted to do it. So
you're born and raised here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my dad's side of the family is from South Phoenix. A lot of my roots are out here, and then my mom's side is from the West Phoenix. My parents, they wanted us to grow up in a better community, go to better schools, so they moved us to South Tempe. And, my upbringing was a little weird, just because, we're Mexican-American kids in the suburbs. We're a little misunderstood. And
a little?
Yeah, so like, and the kids that were like, brown like me, they were from a town called Guadalupe that, they were bussed into our schools, and they knew that we weren't from there. Okay. So we couldn't really relate to them for a while. So I have 4 brothers, but at the time, it was just us 4. Yeah. So there's 5 of us. There's a 10-year gap between me and my youngest brother. So for the longest time, it was just the 4 of us. And we're very tight-knit, all close in age. So we just kind of stayed in our garage that, we, pretty much made into a studio. Mm-hmm. We laid down some tile. We brought in my parents' crazy record collection. And my dad used to collect a lot of stereo gear. Okay. He wasn't really a DJ, but he just was like crazy for like always having the crispest like speakers and turntables.
He had an actual amp.
Yeah. Like
that kind of thing.
Right? So we would take
receiver.
A receiver, exactly. So we would take the receivers and the turntables, and this was pre-internet, and the way we figured out, me and my brother, it's funny, like we thought that we invented like the transform scratch, I love it, because like he had the Planet Rock, like the at the beginning, and just with the line switch just clicking away, and it just like blew my mind. And
did you tell Jazzy Jeff that you invented the transform?
but yeah, I mean, that's how, like, I guess, I don't know if naive is the right word, but we were just kids just trying to figure it out. And all the other kids in the neighborhood would ride by and wonder, like, what are these kids doing in there, spinning on their heads and scratching records and stuff. But I'm thankful for that upbringing. I'm thankful for, that whole situation, because it really made us hone in, and practice our crafts, which, till this day, like it was God, you hear people say hip hop saved my life. Like it literally saved my life. Like if I didn't have hip hop in my life, like I don't know what I would be doing with my life.
Seriously.
You know?
So did you, your dad had the crispest equipment.
Yes.
But
Every Saturday, Circus City,
Circus
Incredible Universe, which is the Fry's Electronics
Right.
down the street. That's like not,
But were you growing up with hearing different kinds of music being played at the house, or?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad was like very eclectic, everything from like, classic soul, classic rock, to Latin, jazz, like every morning, every Saturday morning, my mom did hair, so she'd go to work and work at the salon, and my dad would just turn the music on. We'd literally wake up to music as loud as, but it sounded so crisp, and, he'd be bumping like whatever was new, like the new Sade or, Hootie and the Blowfish or whatever.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was just like a wide array of, music going on in my house. So
Do you DJ that way as well?
yeah.
Okay. With a wide palette, as they say.
Yeah, and I think a good DJ should be able to take anything and make it sound good. No matter what it is, you put your
Agreed.
touch on it. Like that's the beautiful thing about DJing is you can give two people the same records, but they're not going to play them the same way.
Yep.
Chris, let me tell you, I'm gonna interrupt here. If I get too long-winded, you guys cut me off.
We will.
Let me tell you why you're here or how you got here, right? Because I invited you to come on the show, but you don't know me. We probably got introduced.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what happened. So I have this ear for excellence and talent.
Keep it short.
And I know quickly, real fast. So the only thing that I knew about you was that you had gone viral with what you did with Steve Kerr's comments
Yes.
about the basketball game. So I saw a news clip of the Steve Kerr thing and how you had taken the thing and, played it back at the Suns game or whatever. So as a competitive DJ, I said, this DJ's on the news. Let me see who this motherfucker is, right?
That's exactly what he thought.
That's exactly what I
promise
thought. Because I'm a competitive DJ. And you want to put people in categories. He's all right. He's whack. Oh, he's dope, right? So I hadn't heard you DJ, but I heard the name Chris Villa because you were all on the news. So I go to the internet and I went to Instagram and I put in Chris Villa so I could see you actually spin, like to see what you did and whatever. So I did that. And just like back in the day, when we used to buy vinyl records, you go to the record shop, to determine whether you wanted to buy it, you would just put the needle down and listen. But you would know quickly back in the day whether you liked the tune or not. They could play 10 seconds of the record. You would know, oh, that's hot, or next.
Yeah.
So I can look at a DJ, and in 20 seconds, I can know what he is.
Yeah.
Right?
I do the same thing, and I don't even listen to the audio sometimes.
Right?
I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but like,
But you can
It's
see
real. It's real.
someone that's comfortable with the
Same.
decks, someone that's awkward with the decks. You can look and see, and you can tell. You can just tell. So the first thing I noticed about you, which I was happy about, is that you cut primarily with the right hand. So I'm right-handed, and every time I try to learn different scratching techniques, I get frustrated because most DJs are left-handed and they're cutting with the left. And for me, it doesn't translate in my brain. So I'm always looking for a dope right-handed scratcher, right? And so
You better not be left-handed.
I saw he's right. He's right. So I saw you crabbing on the right, and I was like, oh, he crabbing on the right. I could learn some shit, right? So mentally it was 20 seconds of seeing your technique. And then I kind of listened to what you were doing, and I said, okay, he comes from a hip hop perspective. Number one, you were scratching, obviously, but there's a dexterity and a skill level in the hip hop world when guys are interested in scratching, right? Because you can't fake scratching. Like you gotta know what you're doing to be able to cut. Then I heard you go do some juggling. And so within 30 seconds, I was like, he's dope. Like, I have my mind made up. I don't need to hear a 3-hour set. I don't need to hear him at a party. I don't need to, I already knew. So it was a respect that was gained from me to you inside of a fucking minute. You know what I mean? Inside of a minute, that put you on my radar because you had a skill level. And I knew if a DJ has a skill level, you have to have a certain respect because you learned it from somewhere. You watched something, you were impacted, and you decided, I got to practice, right? Because one thing you have to do to know how to cut, you got to practice. You can't just jump out cutting.
Yeah.
You put some hours in. So when I see someone that has put hours in, it says to me, you have a love. You know what I mean? You have a love for it. So I didn't know Chris Villa. I didn't know he was going to be on the Rooted podcast, but I knew I had somebody dope near me in Phoenix, and I'm going to have to get to know this guy because I'm in Phoenix now, and you represented excellence in Phoenix. So when I was giving you your props when I saw you at Grand Ave a couple of weeks ago, talking about, hey man, thank you for, taking this craft and you keep doing it. Now I'm hearing your story and you tell me hip hop saved your life and you were listening to certain things. You said the same thing. What you just said right now in the first 10 minutes of this podcast is the same thing. Legends that before you came said the same thing. Rob Swift, Mello D, guys that were doing this before Chris Villa. Element, you have the same path, and it's not like you necessarily watched them when you were 14 years old or whatever, but I see this same vein of history and how you got it started spinning and how you, and the different types of music you were being influenced. And so I already knew I had a lot in common with you from 30 fucking seconds. I was like, I speak the same language, you know what I mean? So I just want to give you your props on this podcast. But if you can, I'm gonna get off the mic right now. You said hip hop saves your life. So obviously you come in from a hip hop perspective. How did you know what kind of DJ you were gonna be? How did you get good? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, I don't know, so I mean, we could talk about it later, but
okay.
I have a event that I've been throwing for the last year and a half, and it's called Tios and Tias, and what that means in Spanish is just aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
So the reason why I call it that, it ties into my story is because, when I was a kid, my era, don't hate on me or whatever, but it was like, Nelly and Ludacris and stuff like that, big timers. And, even before that, like my big brothers, it was a lot of 90s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, I didn't have access to those records because I was just a kid. I couldn't buy those records. I wasn't even old enough to work. So I would play the music that my tios and tias would put me onto, or my mom and dad would put me onto, which was, that was my record collection to start with. So, it was a lot of funk, soul, freestyle, Latin, classic rock, just like a wide array of timeless music, that I started with. And then my oldest brother, he got into DJing for a little bit, but he was into house and drum and bass.
Okay.
So those were like that was like the first like music that I really practiced with.
Okay.
And after a while, I got good at, blending the house and the drum and bass. And I was like, I've always wanted to scratch. I'm already messing around with scratching.
Yeah.
So let me just focus on that. So I got really into the battling and the DMC stuff and, researching all that.
Did you participate in any?
Yeah. So I used to do the Guitar Center battles and, and then fast forward years later, I'm a 2-time Red Bull 3-style US finalist.
Wow.
So
dope.
Yeah, I did that. My little brother did DMC. But yeah, my style of DJing is and this sounds kind of cocky, I don't mean to be cocky, but
go ahead.
You can do that.
I always wanted to be
back you up.
I always wanted to be able to fuck up another DJ at their own game, So
a kindred spirit. A kindred spirit.
I love this dude. I love this dude. Tell him, dude.
Yo, this dude is always ready to murder the next DJ.
Yeah, I mean, at their own game. So if I see a house DJ, I'm I know I can blend house just as good, if not better than you, and I can incorporate, scratches and not have it be overpowering and just have it be seasoning on top of the track. I could do it with hip hop. I can.
One of us.
He's already beaten me.
I can do radio. I can DJ in these stadiums. I can, whatever. I can do pop. I can do the underground. I can hang with everybody. I always just wanted to be able to do that. Just be a
and that's not cocky.
Versed DJ.
That's just a good DJ speaking on himself.
Man.
Wait. Hang on.
Go ahead.
First record you bought with your own money, because you said earlier at the start of your comment or your answer to Steve, was you couldn't purchase these records.
Yeah.
The first record that you bought with your own money, do you recall what it is?
Yeah, it was Mixmaster Mike, Anti-Theft Device. And it was just like, you don't know who Mixmaster Mike is. He's from the legendary Scratch Pickles, DJ for the Beastie Boys. So, you know, he put out this whole album of scratch music and just him going crazy on, you know, these tracks. And I just thought it was the coolest shit ever. So I bought that. That was the first one that I bought with my own
that was
money.
on vinyl?
Yeah.
All right.
I still have it.
Chris, man, so I'm going to just explain why we were tripping and shaking hands when you said what you said, because that's me. And
A DJ assassin.
it got born from actually being denied, because in Detroit in my day when I came up, and this is mid-'80s, it was really competitive, and there was only a few DJs, and everybody couldn't get on. So a few DJs had the parties locked up, they had the clubs locked up, they had, you know, the private stuff locked up. And so as a young DJ, you wanted to come in and break in. And it was always a reason, well, he does this better, well, he does that better, well, you're not ready yet. And it was just like, I felt like I was being held back. So I was watching all these DJs, and everybody says it's about the music. For me, it wasn't about the music. It was about my right to play, right? And so I couldn't get into this. It was a click. They had clicks.
Yeah.
I wasn't into that click.
It was super exclusive.
Everybody was clicked up, and it was exclusive.
And you said before, like, once you get pegged as one kind of DJ, you can't cross over, so to speak.
No.
You can't. So I was pegged in the house world. So they're like, oh, he only plays house music. He's a house music. Doots. That's all he does. But I did a lot of other stuff. So I'm in this bubble, and I'm watching everybody, DJs mix shows on the radio, in the club. And so because I couldn't get in my mind, I said, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
I'm better than you. I'm going to definitely fuck you up. I can't fuck you up, but I'm going to practice until I can.
Yeah.
And it was just a aura. It was just
a mentality.
A mentality that came over me, like, oh, you don't think I can spin, right? Oh, you don't think I'm good enough, right? Oh, I can't go at that club? Oh, he got the connections, but I don't? All right, let's go.
Yeah, I dealt with a lot of that because, you know, I got on the radio. So the first time I ever got on the radio, Phoenix radio, Power 92, now it's Power 98, but at the time when radio was, you know, everybody was listening to the radio. It was the most important thing in the world.
Right.
You know, aside from TV, like
Before Napster.
Yeah, the hip hop station out here was Power 92, you know, crystal clear signal. And I was practicing at the Guitar Center one day because, you know, the gear that they had over there was way nicer than the gear that I had at home. So instead of my parents taking me to the gym or to the skate park or whatever, they'd take me to the Guitar Center, and I'd bring my records, and they give them their driver's license. They give me a pair of needles, and I just set up shop right there and practice on the good shit. And yeah, so this guy was watching me, and then when I was done, he came up to me and he's like, you know, hey, young man. And as soon as he started talking, I knew exactly who he was, because, you know, one of the main ways that I learned how to DJ was just through listening to the radio mix shows that we had out here. And we had some legendary, like, super dope DJs that, you know, like, and I'm not just even being biased because I'm from Arizona, but they're very dope. So we're talking DJ Fashion, DJ Robbie Rob, DJ M2, Mikey Mike. Like, this whole squad of mixers on Power 92, like, influenced me heavy. But the guy who gave me his card, he was the morning show host on Power. And he's like, have your parents call me. I want you to be on my show. Wow. So my parents were cool enough to, you know, excuse me from school. Huh?
Who was this? What was his name?
His name was Davey D.
Okay.
So, yeah, they took me up there. I did a primetime live set, you know, at 13 years old.
That's dope.
13.
Yeah, so all through, you know, grade school, like, I just practiced. Like, that's why I say hip hop saved my life. Like, and that's why I always try to help people when I can, because this guy, like, helped me, and he didn't have to do it, and he don't even know. Like, I hit him up, like, later on in life and explained to him, like, what he did for me. But had he not done that for me, like, I don't know where I would be, because literally, like, at 13, like, I knew what I was gonna do. You know,
no plan
like,
B.
it gave me the confidence, and you know, like, it helped me so much. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity. But back to what you were saying, like, you know, like I was a young guy, you know, when I graduated from high school, I had a radio slot, you know, every day at 5 o'clock. And everybody, all the other DJs were like, yeah, like he's dope on the radio, but he can't DJ clubs, you know? So I was like,
you get pegged like this.
Yeah. So, or he's only a radio DJ. And I'm like, bro, the stuff that I'm doing on the radio, nobody else is doing. And yeah, you guys have more experience than me in the club right now, but watch. And, you know, and that's the thing about me is like, I'm always down to learn. You know, I don't ever want to stop learning. I don't ever want to get stuck. You know, you have to keep innovating and keep, you know, being inspired. Like I listen to, and that's the kind of thing that bothers me about DJing nowadays is I feel like, and this is why I think like things like this are really important, is because it's almost like it's cool to not be a geek about your craft anymore, you know, and like
the 10,000 hours and putting in time.
Yeah, like it's just so casual for people, you know, like with the technology and everything. And I love the technology, don't get me wrong, and I'm all for like people doing it their
his language.
People doing it their way, because, you know, like they can be innovative on that controller or whatever, you know, it's cool. But don't call yourself a surgeon if you can't do surgery. Don't call yourself a barber if you can't cut hair. You know, you at minimum you need to have standards. You know, the basics. There's standards to this. It's an art. It's a craft. You know, so just practice. Just practice. You know, and be good at what you do. I'm not necessarily saying you have to do it my way. I don't have to do it your way. Just be good. Be dope at what you do. You know.
You are justifying my whole existence right now.
You're preaching our language right now.
I've always been about just having a standard. Like everybody's not the same kind of DJ. You don't have to scratch. You don't have to be a turntablist. You don't have to be a beat junkie. You don't have to do all that shit. But whatever you do.
Yes.
Right?
Do it well.
Do it well.
Yeah.
Be good at it. If you are a selector, then play some hella tunes and just drop, you know, heat where I'm like, woo, man.
Yeah.
He's a selector, you know. If you are going to scratch, then be able to scratch. But don't put some bullshit up. You don't be practicing. See people scratching.
People practice at the gig.
In front of
practice
people.
in front of people. What are you doing?
Yeah, like, you know, you gotta put that time in, you know.
Yeah.
But I still nerd out and go look at, you know, DJs from, you know, on the come up and from back in the day. I listen to interviews, you know, from people that I admire, you know, and it's not just because they're celebrities or whatever, but you have to respect the fact that these people, a lot of them are famous for being great at what they do.
Right.
So if I can take a page out of their book and apply it to what I do and get some inspiration off of that, like that's what I look for.
Man, I saw, speaking of geeking out, I didn't know you were coming to the Melody Showcase we had at Grand Ave. So when I saw you, I was like, wait, damn, that's Chris Villa. And you came, it seemed as a fan of the music. And I kind of saw you nerding out because you were watching Melody and you were enjoying what he was
he's
doing.
one of my favorites.
And I was
nervous just to go say hi to him.
Serious,
like,
man.
You know? And I've, you know, met him a bunch of times, but yeah, like I love seeing that, you know, like I love it. And, you know,
How did you find out about that, if you don't mind me asking?
How did I find out?
On camera.
Oh, I think I saw Grand Ave post it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out Grand Avenue
Coco.
Records.
Yep. Shout out to Coco.
Yeah. But yeah.
So let's talk about when. Is there a point in time when you realized? Because I don't know if it was a point in time where you start to realize, hey, I'm good at this, right? It's not just some hobby, but.
Well, I think at 13 he found that out.
So you were good pretty early on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had a knack for it, and I'm not even like the most dopest. Like, there's other people that are way more skilled than me and stuff, but again, like, be good at what you do. I know what my strengths are. You know, like
Were you and your brothers competitive?
No,
too?
not
like,
really. No.
Oh, okay.
We competed, but we didn't want to compete.
No, I mean, not like you're gonna fight afterwards. I'm just saying, was it kind of you guys sharpened each other? I guess is a better question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But in terms of competition, like, for two, you know,
it was the Villas versus everybody.
Well, we had so there was literally a point in time when I was doing the 5 o'clock mix on the hip hop station out here, every day at 5 p.m. And my brother was doing the 5 o'clock mix every day on the pop station. Yeah, so that's the only competition, like, you know, but, you know.
If you can, Chris, explain to, you know, a younger DJ, because someone is always looking at you. You never know who's watching, right? I'm an old guy. I'm watching you. You don't know about it. There's some 14-year-old now watching and thinking, wow, Chris Villa, how do I get there? What did he do? Like, you know, and so because somebody's always watching, can you tell us about your ascent? You know, like, how did you get to where you are today? What, you know what I mean? What's that? I know you can't say, well, you just do this and you do that, but what was your process? You know, as far as getting more gigs, getting more bookings, getting on people's radar, how did you become to, you know, how did you get to where you are today?
Just, you got to do the work. You got to practice. You know, like, I've come out of my shell, like, a lot more, but I used to be more reserved. Like, you just got to get out there. Okay. You know, nobody is going to sell you better than you, because nobody knows your vision better than you. Yeah. You know, so you just got to put yourself out there, but you also got to be able to back it up, you know? Yeah. So practice is a big thing. You got to go out, you got to hear other DJs play, you know, you got to network, all of that. Like, as much as DJing is an art form and it's a beautiful thing, it can also be a business, you know, sure. Which I've been so blessed to be able to make a living off of this. Like, I've only had one job my entire life, and that's aside from DJing, you know, I worked at community centers, you know, when I was in high school, and like 1 or 2 years out of high school, but you know, DJing has always been my main thing. So
did you ever think you'd be able to make a living off DJing?
No, because at that time, you know, like my parents and my family, they were always very supportive, but the time that I grew up in, like, nowadays it's socially acceptable to be an entrepreneur, to have your own business, whether it be, you know, doing nails or you know, being a
TikTok,
whatever,
TikTok,
you know, like it's not frowned upon nowadays to, like, do your own thing and get paid off of it. But you know, when I graduated from high school, it was still very much like, you have to go to college, whether you know what you're going to do or not, and get some kind of degree and go get some kind of job for some stability in life. And that's what I thought that I needed to do, you know, and I fought it for so long. I fought it, you know, and one day I was just sitting in this math class at community college that it was like my second time taking, or it might have been third time, I'm being honest. I could count money, but I can't, you know, do complex math. You know, that's all that matters. But, you know, like, I just literally told myself, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm already on the radio. You know, it was the weekends, but I'm like, I'm already doing radio. Like, that's what every DJ in town, at least at the time, like, was aspiring to do. I was like, I just need to put my foot on the gas and see how far I can take it. And then, you know, so aside from practicing and putting yourself out there and believing in yourself, like, or networking, you know, ultimately, like, you really have to believe in yourself. You know, you have to take that leap and not be scared. And sometimes it might get a little rocky, but, you know, you just got to trust that you'll be good.
I think your generation and then it became, like you say, socially acceptable to do your own thing, create your own business. I came a little bit before you. And so, man, when I went to college after I was a big high school DJ. Like, I was popular all around. I did all the school dances. And so when it was time to go to quote unquote college, my mom and my dad were like, well, what are you going to major in? And I'm like, DJing, doubles, like, you mean, because that was my interest. They said, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? And I wanted to be a DJ because I found my passion. I found my love, but it wasn't acceptable. So mom was like, well, you're going to go ahead and get this degree so you can get a quote unquote real job. Yeah. And so I was discouraged. So I went into college, going to college just to appease my parents so they wouldn't kick my ass. I was picking majors what can I pass? You know, what can I get a C in? But the hype was, okay, I'm DJing on the weekend. I'm doing the alpha party. I'm doing the so-and-so. I'm going to be playing over here at this club. And the only reason I passed and did well in school because my mom said, if you flunk out of college, I'm taking all your DJ gear. So I was like, oh shit. All right. I guess I better study. So I was studying not for education's perspective. I was studying to keep my 12s. I was studying to keep my record collection, to keep my mom off my back. So by the time I get all the way through college, bro.
That's interesting.
And you majored in Spanish.
I majored in Spanish, right?
You're more Mexican than me.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
Spanish
this is the
major.
first I'm learning about this.
I was doing well in my Spanish classes as I had my high school teacher, Senor Rodriguez. He was just a great teacher. And so I did well in Spanish classes. And so it was the only thing I could pass. And so I had so many credits in Spanish, I ended up with a Spanish degree. And then my mom was like, well, what are you going to do with this Spanish degree? I said, well, I guess I'm going to teach English as a second language. I'm going to be a teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher. I want to be a DJ, right?
Yeah.
So I had switched my major to telecommunications because, like, telecommunications, that sounds like radio shit. All right, cool, radio. I'm going to get on the mix show. So I'm doing mix shows in college.
We were on radio together.
We did radio together.
college.
That's how me and him met.
Yeah.
And so my DJing was like this girlfriend I had to hide from my parents. Like, I don't want them to know I got this secret girlfriend back here. Like, oh, but here's my degree, Mom. You know, I got this degree. And so what I'm hearing from you is that you said, hey, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm good at this. I can't deny I'm good at this. I'm doing stuff. I'm on the radio. And you kept at it, right?
Yeah. My story is very similar to that because when I went to school, we went to Michigan State. I was originally supposed to be a music major because I played drums. So I was going to be in a marching band and all this other shit. But when I got up to school, I'm like, I don't like this marching band. And
You want to do the Nick Cannon?
I had people all in my ear like, you can't make it as a musician. You should do something else. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'll be an accountant. Yeah. So I'm studying accounting and I'm DJing. We're going down to Jack the Rapper, meeting all these rappers and famous people. And I'm still DJing. We're doing the same parties. We're on the radio. Yeah. And unlike you, I didn't keep my foot on the gas at that time, although I could have. Yeah. I probably should have because look at where my peers went, you know. But, yeah, it says something for you to persevere and stick with it. And so I hope all the kids that watch this take that same message and really apply it, man. If you're good at something, keep doing it.
Yeah, and, you know, like, you saw my kids at the Melody show, and, like, you know, I don't ever shy away from having, you know, my family and my videos or whatever. If they want to pop in and I'm doing a live stream or what have you, you know, like me and my wife, she helps me a lot, you know, with our event that we, you know, pretty much have built together.
Tios and Tios?
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know, my kids are proud of it. Like, and I want them to know, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, taking a, you know, traditional path, you know, going to college. Like my wife says that our kids have to go to college.
Right,
that's what it is, you know. But I want them to know too that there's like, and not just from my kids, but anybody out there, that there's always another way, and it's okay.
Yeah.
When did you? So you said at 13 you're going to you said Guitar Center to practice?
Yeah.
When do you start to upgrade your equipment? Because people may not understand this. DJing is not cheap.
Yeah.
Not at all, especially back then.
Yeah, so, you know, I was doing a lot of early gigs with my dad's, like, home stereo stuff, you know, and then...
He didn't object to this.
Nah, he didn't.
That's dope.
That's good.
That's dope.
And then eventually, like I mentioned, my oldest brother was into DJing, so when he turned 16, my parents got him like a DJ in the box, like belt drive, 2 turntable, you know, little blue or purple Newmark mixer that was like this big, and that was like what he had in the house. But he used to play, you know, basketball all the way across town, and he'd lock up the room because he knew I was gonna get in there, and I would just
story.
me and my brother would just, you know, figure out how to get in his room. And literally one day, like he busted me in his room, like
everybody always
practicing or whatever, and he just said, you know what, he's like, you can have him, you know. So that kind of like kick started, you know, a lot of
the upgrade.
So like I did a lot of like, you know, little house parties or whatever, community events, church events with that stuff, and eventually just bought it piece by piece. And you know, even the techniques that I have till this day, they're not brand new. They're I bought them when I was like a teen off of somebody, and you know, I had Coco from Grand Ave like recently like redo them and get them all nice. But
you got like off-white, right?
Yeah, like an almond.
I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still can't get rid of my original 12s. Behind you, those burgundy 12s are the ones I got late 80s. I got them refurbished through Henry Morales. Shout out to Henry Morales. I could never throw them away because 12s, they just work. You know, they're really good machines. And they're like kind of sentimental. So, Chris, bro, do you realize, I don't know if people see themselves or they know how the community receives them, but do you have a sense that you are kind of like a local hero or a local favorite, you know, amongst Phoenicians? Do you feel that?
He's got to.
Yeah, but I don't let it get to me, you know, I don't, you know, I just want to do dope shit, you know, like I just want to, you know, treat people the way I want to be treated and help where I can, because, you know, like, and I'm not saying this like to toot my own horn, but I'm saying this out of something that I'm truly proud of, to make an impact in somebody's life. Like there's DJ homies and homegirls that are like doing very well in their careers right now. And I vouched really hard to get them on the radio, you know, to get them into certain clubs. And, you know, fast forward to today, like they're making a good living and they're thriving off of DJing and doing something that they're actually passionate about and love to do. And that's my, you know, contribution to the world is like, you know, like making somebody else's life happier, you know, like the world is better with happier people. And, you know, and I'm not taking all the credit, you know, because the path that God like puts in your life, like that's what's destined to be. But I had a hand in it, and I'm happy to have a hand in it. And, you know, I've had friends leave, you know, banking jobs or whatever, you know, like pharmacists, and now they're full-time, well-respected, thriving DJs. You know?
For a guy like me.
I can attest to that.
I'm a dentist by day job. That's why I said that.
Chris,
I've been at a couple I've been to quite a few Chris V events, actually.
You have?
I met him a few times before this, and he's always been like a real cool, humble guy.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, I think it was the first time I actually met him specifically at Womack. He was doing guest set with Tricky and M2, and he just killed the set. And then I'm sitting at the bar just watching. I think I was talking to Tricky T or something, and Chris just came, sat right next to me. I was like, damn, it's Chris V.
It's crazy because I meet a lot of people, know a lot, meet a lot, celebrity types, popular, whatever, and sometimes I hate it when people get big or they start to get a little momentum or popularity or whatever, and they become untouchable, assholes, not reachable, not accessible. Like, I know you got my text message in my inbox. Did you ignore it because you just don't think I'm someone you need to respond to? And so once I made the connection to Chris Villa, I'm so happy. I'm like, he's a normal motherfucker, right? He's just regular. He speaks and he responds. Thank goodness the little celebrity that he has, you know, didn't go to your head, because
I don't like the way you said little celebrity.
I'm saying well,
I am a little.
He ain't Denzel Washington, and like I'm just saying, he's not an A-list like Hollywood movie star, but you know, but with the level of celebrity that you have,
We're gonna speak to that. Keep going.
you are very just down to earth, and it's sad that I have to even compliment that. It should be a norm, but everybody is not down to earth, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I walked up to you, hey, yo, what's up? You acknowledged me, hey, yo, what's up? I heard you, da-da-da. And so what makes you a great DJ is not just your physical prowess behind the turntables, but your personality and your story that you bring with that. Because what makes you a hero is not because you're a great scratcher. A ton of DJs can scratch.
Yeah.
A ton of DJs can work doubles.
A lot of them.
You know what I mean? And so it's the combination of who you are as a person on top of being a great DJ. When you put that together, I think that's why the community loves you. That's why the community supports you. That's why we root for you, because I found myself rooting for Chris Villa. I don't even know this motherfucker. You know what I mean? But I'm like,
you.
dang, he's kind of cool as shit. He did the little Steve Kerr thing, and you know, he's reaching the people. He got his Tios and Tios. I saw Mexicans connecting with you. You know what I mean? And so when I see that connection and I see that love there, I know that you are an authentic talent. You know, it's very authentic. It's very homegrown. It's very respectable. Like, so as I'm hearing your origins right now through this show, I'm just like, check. Yep, that's why he's not an asshole. Check.
Yeah,
he's down to earth. You just checking it off.
I don't take it for granted. I know that I'm very, very blessed. You know, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know, I like to get a little crazy sometimes. You know, but like I always try to lead with love and gratitude and passion. Like I'm truly like passionate about what I do and grateful, and there's no need to be any type of way. And you know, like I've kicked it with legends, and they've been super nice. So if they can be cool, you know, like who am I? You know, and even without that, who am I? Like, what I can play records good, but you know, at the end of the day, like I'm just a person,
a human
know?
being, right?
Yeah.
Are you I'm sorry, Tom.
Oh, go ahead, man.
Are you? Because you said as you got into this, you became a little bit more extroverted. Are you a different person behind decks?
Yeah.
I feel like I am.
It's just like, I mean, it's one of my main comfort zones, you know. It's like where I could just zone out, and there's times like, even, you know, like a part of live streaming is like, you know, you interact with the audience, and there's a lot of times where I just forget that I'm even like on camera. I'm like so like loving what I'm doing at the moment, like. And,
that
you know,
blend was tight.
Yeah, or like, you know, like I not to sound like corny, but like I get like teary-eyed, you know, because like I'll play a song, it'll remind me of something, or like it just hits, you know, and I'm just like, I love this shit. Like
you're still a music fan.
I get to do this.
Right.
You know?
You're still a music fan.
Is that mainly on Twitch, or is this on IG? Like during the pandemic, where do you live stream at?
I live stream on Twitch, so.
Okay.
What is your channel so they can know the audience?
It's just DJ Chris Villa.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the live streaming stuff was a big game changer, lifesaver for me, you know, during the pandemic.
Yes.
Like many other people in general, but, you know, entertainers, DJs, like I lost my gigs because a lot of the bars and clubs shut down. So, you know, I wasn't gigging, so I turned to live streaming. And the beautiful thing about my event, Tios and Tios today, is that it was born from the live stream. Because
okay.
So I don't know if you noticed when you went to the party, but there's live streaming on the TVs. You know, and I'm one thing that I'm
was fire.
You know, not to, you know, hate on anybody, that all the football lovers out there, but you know, like I throw my party during football season, and I'm very adamant about like the live stream has to be on all the TVs, you know, because
not the games.
Yeah, not the games, you know, because first of all, if you want to watch a game, you can go to Zips,
pull your phone up.
Yeah, pull your phone up or whatever. But this is a once a month gathering of, you know, people, you know, and good music and great talent. Like, let's just take it all in and have a good day. But, you know, it was birthed on Twitch because, so yeah, no gigs, at home, in studio, just with my family. This is when like you're not even allowing people to come over.
Right.
And so I just be streaming at all hours of the day and night. Like she'll tell you, like it was just that was where I was, like almost so many hours of the day and night. And one thing that I realized is like, hey, like now I have the opportunity more than ever to play what I want to play. Like I'm not gonna be on live stream playing Drake and Bad Bunny all day.
You don't have to.
You know, I don't have
if
to.
you don't
so
like it.
what like feels the best to me? What brings back great memories? That feels the most authentic to me. And I've always been a huge fan of oldies. You know, so I just on and Sundays historically, culturally, has just been reserved for oldies. So you know, I'd be playing oldies, like not even mixing, just playing oldies front to back, like
Yeah.
You know, I like this stylistic song or
Can
whatever.
you do that? You can actually sit there and play a whole song without mixing?
Yeah, with
I
tequila.
don't know if I can.
I do it twice. Twice.
I don't know how you do it. I can't.
Really?
But
No,
I'll still.
if
I'll
I got
still
two
mix.
records in front of me, I gotta mix.
So I'll play like the songs that I want to hear and get them off, and then eventually like I'll end up doing like a full blown set, you know. But it was just like a casual way for me to like play the shit that I really loved and that I knew my family loved, and just joking around. I was like, man, this is like my Tios and Tias shit. And then it just like clicked and it stuck.
Wow.
And
Just
then,
like that.
Yeah, and then you know, I think I started naming the stream like music for Tios and Tias, and then it just shortened up to Tios and Tias. But
Nice.
you know, so it started in the studio with nobody but my wife and my kids, and then when things started to slowly like loosen back up, I'd have other friends, and I'd always have the camera on like the party, you know, the people in the room.
Right.
And then eventually I would take all my gear out to the backyard, the cameras, the turntables, the tents, literally like it'd be like a 2-hour setup, you know, and just to do this live stream, I'd bought like 100-foot Ethernet cable to run it from my modem, you know, into my computer. And, you know, like
Done that too.
we'd have drinks, like my friends or family or whatever will be grilling carne asada or whatever in the background. So people would watch this and they'd be like, dang, that's a vibe. Like that's a family party. Like we want to come over. Like we want to experience that. And I'm like, I ain't trying to have all these strangers at my house. You know?
Right.
But nah, so I was like, you know what? But like maybe we should seriously consider like moving this, like taking this and creating like a live event out of it. And so that's what we did, and we went from a small bar, Cobra, to another bar down the street called the Grand, and then we went to the hotel. Now we're back at a club for the summer, 2 big rooms, and then we're gonna make our return to the hotel, and then we're at the Arizona State Fair. In the Coliseum, ridiculous. And you know,
That's ridiculous.
I was telling my daughter when we did the walkthrough the other day, because they have a backyard area, and it's literally called the backyard, and it's a grass area, not big at all, with the stage, and that's like where they have the bands play.
Nice.
And I told my daughter, I was like, look, this is where I wanted to have our party, and I was like, but God did us one better, and we're right here, you know, directly across in the stadium. So
God
you know,
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and just, I don't even know what we were talking about, but yeah, the live streaming thing, you know, like it was very important to me, and I try to keep it alive. And, you know, it was a way for like people to, you know, it gave a lot of people entertainment, you know, like we built like a really tight community on there. Like there were names that screen names that I've seen over the last, you know, 4 years, you know, dope. Like Jay Bush or whatever, Big DA or, you know, Shelly 123 or whatever, you know, and
that's my girl.
And, they would pull up, you know, they'd fly in from like New Orleans or wherever, Atlanta, like drive in from, you know, Payson and, you know, New Mexico, and just come to this party and like, hey, I'm so-and-so. And like, we get to meet in person, and it's a beautiful thing. That's and like dope, that, you know, they really latched on, and they feel like, you know, a part of something.
Part
you know?
Yeah. As a person who's made a lot of online connections through like OK Player and shit like that, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
But if y'all haven't been to one of his events, the last one I went to was at the Egyptian Hotel when he had Scratch Bastard in.
I missed that.
And
one.
I missed that one as well.
And the man had like scaffolding and stages and multiple speakers. I'm like, how the fuck did he pull this off? That shit is incredible, man. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I don't even know sometimes how we do it, but it's just little. And that's what's beautiful about life. Like the guy that I rent the sound from, he's a old school Jamaican cat, reggae DJ. His name's
Vader?
DJ, Vader.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Vader.
And so his kids went to the same high school as me.
Oh, okay.
So I always
and they're helping him out.
They help him set up, and I've always known his name since I was a kid. And, you know, it's just funny how like everything comes full
Yeah.
circle. And
And they got the whole hotel on. Like,
oh man, Vader,
whole
man,
thing.
Vader's-
Yeah, no,
Vader's-
like, he's-
that dude knows
they got
sound.
Yeah.
like separate
knows
rooms.
sound.
They have tattoo artists.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
what else did you have? Like
so
a
I have
merchandise room.
so aside from like it's a party first and foremost, like focused on the music, and you know, again with booking like Scratch Bassett and Newmark and stuff like that, like I always want to bring the dopest DJs that I can, you know, from locally and abroad. And you know, I can DJ the day all by myself and I'd have a great time, and
Right.
you know, like, you know,
But it's fun to host and watch other people.
yeah, like I just want to, and I think it's important too that like,
I think you're at the point in your life where you want to share the world.
yeah, and I wanna like, now that I have a platform and the means to do it, it's like if I don't bring these DJs out, who else is gonna do it? You
Right.
know, I can't
Yep.
I can't wait
my
on
brother right here.
I can't wait on so and so to bring, you know, somebody
Absolutely.
out. I
Yep.
just got to do it, you know,
Yep.
and whether the people appreciate it or know that this is a world-class DJ up there or not, like I feel in my heart that like they'll notice a difference, you know. So yeah, we first and foremost, it's a party. It's about the music. You know, we play funk, freestyle, you know, cruising classics, soul, Latin. Like it's just like house party, you know, 80s and 90s
Yeah,
hip
something
hop
for everybody.
and hip hop
Yeah.
and R&B throwbacks. But yeah, so aside from that, you know, we have 2 tattoo artists that do, you know, tattoos on site, and they're 2 of the dopest. Shout out Christina and Alex Estrada. And then, you know, we have a lady that does piercings and jewelry on site, and then we have a guy who does airbrush stuff. So like if you bring him a hat or a shirt or whatever, like he'll create something dope for you. And it's just all about creating like a dope experience and environment, and
Yes, sir.
showcasing other little talents along the way. That way it don't get stale. You know, we have some low riders that pull up, you know, out front and showcase, and
Chris, let me,
Are your
Right.
kids interested?
yeah, they brag all day. I'm like, stop bringing this up at school. Like,
But do they get on? Do they play with the
oh
equipment
yeah,
and stuff?
yeah. They are, but I'm trying not to force them. I'm trying to let them fall in love with it little by little, and I think they are.
Osmotically, as
Yeah.
they say. Yeah.
Chris, you got any goals or things you want to hit that you haven't done yet? Like as a DJ, do you say, hey, I want to, I don't know, break into this festival circuit, or I want to break into this, or are you content where you are, or are there some things that you're looking forward to or hoping to grow into?
I want to keep building on this event. I want it to be something that our city can be proud of. You know, as far as getting it to the Arizona State Fair, like, let me toot my horn a little bit. Like, this is the first
That's
time
huge.
the Arizona State Fair is doing something like this that's just focused on a DJ lineup as an entertainment.
Gotcha.
You know, it's not a concert, it's a dance party. And the best thing about it is they're letting us do it our way. It's homegrown. It's not a touring party, you know, so it's something to be very proud of. And
Absolutely.
we just want to put on a good show and have it be, you know, something that people look forward to, you know, not just every month with our monthlies, but once a year at the fair, you know, and
Awesome.
do it like on a larger scale, because it's bringing all of Arizona together.
Yeah.
So I just want to keep building on this party. I want to do some other parties, you know, like I never thought of myself as a event planner or a promoter, but you know, within the last, you know, year and a half, like that's what God has like put in my life. So, you know, I'm just trying to do best with with the opportunity that I'm given, and, you know, take it as far as I can go.
Man, you are my brother, because so much shit coming out of your mouth. I'm like, yeah, me too. Yep, word. So I'm a DJ, right? And my boy Tone is like, man, you know, are you trying to become something else? Da, da, da? And I'm like, no, I'm a DJ at the core. That's my core thing. But you end up wearing so many different hats because of what you want to do, right? So now I'm turning into a promoter, an event planner, this big Rooted launch party. I'm a podcast host. I never wanted to be a fucking
It's the
podcast
last thing he
host. It's
wanted
the
to
last
do.
thing I want to do. I want to get
Last.
behind the table.
That's a lie.
But
You wanted to do this.
You think so?
it
Yes.
lends itself to the
I'm the one
craft.
who don't want to.
It's just relevant, man. Like like you can't say I won't do this. Like if you end up buying a sampler or a keyboard or whatever, you start making beats, and all of a sudden you're a producer, you know. But it's all interrelated to how you start. I started out a DJ, but I'm meeting Chris Villa through podcasting. I didn't meet Chris Villa because we was out spinning together, or I was on some lineup and he was on some lineup. True. I met Chris Villa because I got a podcast, right? And so I saw you as not only a guest on the podcast, but I'm like, well, damn, if he coming on to talk, we got to see him spin after that. I got to book this dude for a show. You know what I mean? So then you become a promoter for that. And I'm like, well, I got to tell people about the show. I got to promote it. Damn, y'all going to help me promote this show? Now, guess what? You a promoter too, and you a promoter too, because we got to get the word out. So you end up doing all this stuff, and you seem to have embraced it, man. Like,
yeah, you have to. And, you know, like back to what you were, when you had asked me earlier, like what advice, and I would just say, like, don't run from things, like run into things, you know. And it is scary. Like, I'm not trying to sound like I have all the answers, but you have to embrace things, you know, and you have to go the extra mile and put that work in, because man, I had so many people tell me, like, dude, nobody cares about your scratching. Like, nobody cares about this trick that you're doing. Like, why are you posting DJ videos? Like, nobody cares. Like, all that matters is you show up to the club on an off night, get drunk with the DJ, with the promoter, with the bar manager, and that's how you get a gig. And I'm like, nah. Like, first of all,
there's got to be a different way to.
I was like, that's first of all,
it worked
like
for me.
that. You know, nah, I mean, I like to have drinks and stuff too, but I'm just saying, like, especially at that time, like I was super like just about my craft, and I'm like, there has to be another way. So I put the extra work in. I started putting these little, you know, 15-second, when Instagram first, you know, released the video feature. I had the noon radio mix on the hip hop station. So I was doing these 15-second clips of me scratching in a song or doing like a quick wordplay. That caught the attention of DJ City, which is one of the biggest DJ websites in the world. And they're like, hey, we need content creators. Could you do this, but for YouTube? So I got contracted out to do that. Wow. And then from all that content that I created on YouTube and Instagram, going the extra mile, you know, doing the work that other people saw like wasn't necessary, you know, like that got me booked all around the country and even and out of the country, you know. So you have to do the work. Go extra.
Tell us where you spun. Like, give us some of the bio, DJ resume. How many different states? And
start with the locals, like the spots that were must come to events in Phoenix that you might have done, like big clubs.
Big clubs, I mean,
or events.
Even I don't know, man. Like as far as clubs go, so you know, back in the day, like it was like Mill Avenue, which was like College Town, and there was Old Town Scottsdale, and then you know, like, so I kind of bounced between the two. I did a little bit of downtown stuff, which was at that time only like really had like a hip hop and a Latin scene. So I kind of bounced around all of those. And then I eventually like set my sights on just doing downtown. You know, I got really tired of like my friends and family that are black and brown that couldn't get in to the Scottsdale club, like truthfully on some bullshit, just because
we've talked
just
about
because of the color of their skin, not because of their like.
Honestly.
You're letting this guy in, you know, with flip flops on, and you won't let my friend or family member in with a nice crispy pair of Jordans and a nice haircut. Like, come on, what we doing over here?
The cap with the flip flops also has a visor on, but you can't get in with a baseball cap.
Yeah, so you know, so I set my sights on downtown, and I was like, Cobra specifically. I was like, you know, like, as I had gone there on an off night, and I just had a good time. Like, the music was just everything that I like to listen to. It wasn't even like really a dance party at that time, and then I came in, and I kind of messed it all up and made it, you know, like a dance destination on the weekends. And so yeah, like I would say, like,
around the corner because of you, huh?
So I would say I had a hand in like building up, like, you know, that scene, like making Roosevelt like a party scene. As far as like local events go, I gotta show love to like the Blunt Club with Pixter and, you know, Tricky and those guys. Anytime they asked me to do that, like, I was so down to do that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Then statewide, where have you been?
Statewide?
Nationwide.
Nationwide. So I don't know, everywhere. Like I just got done doing a co-headlining gig with DJ Scratch in Nashville for this party called the Boom Bap last Saturday. Okay. So yeah, I get booked on my own. I tour with a comedian a lot of times.
You do. I saw that on IG. Who was that comedian that you were with?
His name's Frankie Quinones.
Oh, is he local here? Is he?
No, he's from L.A.
Okay.
So, yeah, he has a TV show on Hulu called This Fool. It has 2 seasons, and he's been in The Walking Dead, and he does like all kinds of stuff. He's a stand-up guy, and he has a online character that he created called Cholo Fit Creeper. So it's like a Cholo fitness instructor. Yeah. So I've been traveling with him steadily over like the last 2 or 3 years. Like we've been everywhere. We've been to New York. We've been to Oklahoma, everywhere in between, all of California, Texas. Yeah.
What is it like being a full-time DJ? All this stuff you're talking about, balancing that with family life, because you got a wife and kids. So how do you make all that work?
I mean, it's actually better than what most people think, because the beautiful thing is like I work on my own time, like there's always stuff that needs to get done, especially, now that I have this event.
Okay.
But like I take my kids to school every day. I pick them up every day,
Nice.
So I have all this time, during the week. I may not have time on the weekends, but I have all this time during the week to spend with them. And, my wife, she works a full-time, job, so it just balances out all good. But my wife is like very supportive. We've been together since high school.
Awesome.
So she's seen like the whole come up, and she's like supported the whole.
That's dope.
Thing,
that helps immensely,
man.
Tios and Tias, man. It's a monthly event. Is that right? Is like the third Thursday or whatever?
It just always varies. It's mainly like at the end of each month, like the last 2 weeks of each month. But like if there's a holiday, like something like my birthday is on November 9th, so that's a 3-day weekend, so we got to do one right there, but yeah, it's a monthly.
Got you. Just wanted to let the folks know.
And I plan on taking that on the road as a touring party.
Nice.
Smart.
But I still want to really like put our foot down out here and let people know that this is something that they can be proud of before we take it. So
I wanted to touch on a little bit more, Pause. Tell us about some of the gigs you do consistently, like your gig for the Phoenix Suns. And what else do you do? What are your other like consistent weekly or monthlies?
I mean, honestly, everything is so focused on this event that I've been building. Like I used to DJ. I used to be the arena DJ for the Cardinals, and last year was my last year. And I'm still on the roster as a arena DJ for the Diamondbacks, but I'm not scheduling anything. Just it's like my own tour stuff, the comedy stuff, and my party. That's like all I'm really focused on. But yeah, like I was the first arena DJ for the Phoenix Suns. And at that time, I think I was like 22 or 23.
How'd that come about?
So I think they just really like were like taking heat from like the Miami having a DJ, DJ Irie, I think at the time, and they wanted to do it as well. So they had like a talent search, and there were DJs from all over the Southwest that came and tried out. You had to drop off a demo, and then they called you back for an audition, and then there was like 2 or 3 rounds of auditions, and I ended up winning.
It was like Juice.
Yeah.
It was like
they
Juice.
They put you in the center. The final one was like they put you in the center court, and they're like, all right, there's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, what would you play? What would you say? Kind of thing. And
wow, that's cool.
So
that's
and again,
cool.
like I didn't even really get on the mic like that, but I just said, this is my chance, So I did that. The first game that I ever did was against the Lakers and Kobe, and I did it my way. Unfortunately, like it was just one season, You know, like I don't really think the guy at the time really understood. I think they wanted more of a cheerleader behind the turntables, and you know, not to say that I was just like up there like all boring and stuff like that. Like I'm proud of the work that I did, but you know, I'm definitely not a cheerleader, you know.
For sure.
They have somebody in there now that is a DJ himself and really understands the DJs, and he's done a great job with, you know, putting good DJs in there.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, Dr. Dre been there, done that, you know. So I, you know, from there I went on to the D-backs, and then from there I went to the Cardinals, and you know, I'm just always trying to like, I'll give it a shot, you know, like whether it's radio or these sports teams or whatever, like I give it a shot, and if it ain't for me, like ultimately, like I don't want to be doing anything that I really don't want to be doing, you know. So if my heart ain't in it, then I'm gonna go focus on something else and leave it to the next person.
I gotta highlight the viral moment because it was so big. But can you explain to the audience what happened with that viral moment and how you end up all over the news and the
so shout out to DJ Tribal Touch. So it was a full circle moment. So I'm at this happened I think last year, and I'm not even a DJ. I'm not even the Phoenix Suns DJ like at the time during, you know,
I didn't know that.
They just brought me back to do halftime. And you know, again, like thank you, because you guys book rappers and singers and bands all the time for your halftime entertainment.
Wow,
Why not more DJs? So they trusted me to do just a halftime performance, a DJ routine. So there was actually a lot of other DJ shit that was going on in that performance, but the only thing that got picked up was the easiest thing that I did, you know, which it wasn't that easy. Like there was thought behind it, you know. And people want to say that, like, you know, like I was dissing Steve Kerr. I'm like, nah, Steve Kerr's a legend. Like I wasn't even in that, like I wasn't even in that mindset. Like the whole thing is just the DJ mindset. The producer hip hop mindset. Like you hear a dope sample or a dope like voice clip, and you want to
flip it.
You want to flip it. So that's all it was. Like I had heard it, and it's funny like how the universe works. Like I had heard it, you know, maybe a month or two before when it happened, and I was like, dude, that's gold. Like if I ever get the opportunity to use this like in the stadium, like I'm gonna do it. So you know, fast forward like not too long after that, I got the call, and the game that I did wasn't even against the Warriors, but I just wanted to use that sample because it was still pretty fresh, and I thought like, hey, like he's poking fun at like us being too loud, like like this should encourage the people to like get even louder or laugh, you know. Like that was my whole point with this. It wasn't to take a jab at Steve Kerr,
Right.
You know, and you know, I see the comments and they're like, oh, Benny Benassi Satisfaction isn't even techno or whatever. I'm like, bro, like shut up. Like we can get into that, but like the whole point is it's supposed to be corny. It's a joke. You know, like what's the most techno like ravey soundy song ever? The first one that you think of is Benny Benassi Satisfaction, at least to me. You know, like the White Chicks movie scene, you know, like with Terry Crews, like you know, he's on E and blowing the whistle and doing all that, like so I just chopped the vocal up, put it behind that, you know, techno club sounding song, and I just played it, you know, and then you know, like I knew it was gonna get some attention, but I didn't think it was gonna get that much attention. You know, and like even my friend, like I had invited two of our good friends, Marty and Vaughn, to the game to watch, and Vaughn was like, man, he's like, I don't even really feel like the crowd like really appreciated what you were doing and stuff. And I was like,
understatement.
I was like, it's all good, man. I was like, you know that little like voice clip that I did? I was like, watch. I was like, we're gonna get some love off of that. Just watch. And then I packed my bag up. We walk across the street, and my phone like starts blowing up, and I'm like, look, dude. I was like, look at my Twitter right now. And, you know, like before you know it, it was like the biggest video on the internet, and you know, like, unfortunately, they didn't like it, you know, but
Have you talked to Steve?
Who was they that didn't like it?
The NBA didn't like it.
NBA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I wouldn't take it back. It was meant to be,
It
and,
sure was.
and my
It sure
my
was.
intentions were pure. You
Yeah.
know, like I didn't do it to get anybody in trouble or
Yeah.
disrespect anybody. But the NBA sure did run with it.
Wow.
Of
You know,
course.
yeah,
That's the way they do it. That's how they do it.
That following Tuesday, they played the Warriors, and Steve Kerr shows up with headphones, and they kept referencing it, and I'm just sitting at home watching.
Wow.
It's like, all right,
Wow.
I see how it is.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
But
Wow.
I'm proud of what I did.
you did good,
That's
man.
interesting that you say that, because I've always
There's-
had this kind of angst, so to speak, towards the NBA, because they didn't like hip hop when it was trying to be introduced, when players were transitioning.
Iverson in
But
particular.
But even before that, Iverson was kind of the tipping point. But even before that, before Iverson got big, the NBA was starting, because cats were wearing their jerseys in the videos, right? Oh no, we don't want to be associated with that. But I remember the "I Love This Game" commercials had hip hop beats.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
promoting the game with Vlade Divac. You're promoting the game with whoever was even big at the time.
Mhm.
I love this game. I love this game. You got Jamal Mashburn, whoever it is. You didn't want that element, but that's how you're selling the game.
Yeah.
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 But
Like
that
they had
and
the
so that
commercials.
they will co-op it
Oh,
to
that's
their own
everything.
for their own benefit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
But-
like the B Street Biters line.
Yeah,
Just take a bite and leave the rest.
Yeah.
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 You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
Iverson because that was around the time when the league instituted the you
That
have
whole
to
dress
wear
code thing?
dress
Don't get me started
code.
with David
Yeah.
Stern and that stuff, man.
And meanwhile,
no,
they had
you know-
commercials with
Yeah.
Jadakiss and whoever else that was with the basketball bouncing as the
Remember
beats.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those were dope.
Yeah. But it was a moment, and
How explain to me how the viral thing, how long does that last? Like your phone was ringing off the hook for how long? Not ringing, but notifications
yeah. I mean, well,
going
I
crazy.
always have had my notifications off, but
Oh, okay. That's one way to do it.
yeah, like I don't know. It has like in the several, like we're talking like at least like 100 million views, like just on the Bleacher Report
Wow.
Twitter alone. That's not even counting all the other accounts. So it's out there.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, man. Whew,
Like I
that's
said,
awesome.
like
No,
much
not at all.
love for the opportunity, and I didn't have any ill intent. But do I think that situation could have been handled better? Like they could have brought me out on court and had me shake hands and do
Yeah.
it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And
yeah.
like what sucks is like I did it with the power of music, right?
Mm.
Like let's rewind a little bit when the Suns and 4 guy
Mm-hmm.
socked up some people at the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're defending yourself, you still get this guy, you fly him out, you put him on a pedestal during the playoffs. That has violence in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see what like, let me be real. Like
Yeah.
that has violence. All I did was play a little sound clip.
Chris, man, I'm so glad you did that, because literally, if you don't do that, I'm always thinking of something deeper. I don't meet you, because your sentiment, you're a battle DJ. I knew that as soon as I heard a clip of you. I didn't know you battled in the Red Bull or whatever it was, but I know a battle DJ when I see one. I don't even have to turn the sounds on. I can look at the movements, right? So when you heard a snippet or you heard a voice, it was almost like, ooh, I could use that. Like back in the day, we would do diss battles, right? If you could find something on a scratch record that was a diss, like suck my dick, fuck you, right? You scream, cut it in. And so when not that you did that, but you did something different, it was in a battle spirit that you did it,
Yeah.
right? And so he found something that he could use, and he used it. It ends up going viral because of your battle sensibilities. And so we see it on the news because of the type of DJ you are. Not every DJ would have pulled that and did that.
Yeah.
So coming full circle, you being a battle DJ allows me to meet you, because you're not on the news if you don't have that mentality. I have that mentality. So like I'm saying in the beginning of the interview, I feel so justified. Like everything come out of this dude's mouth, I'm like, hell yeah, yup, word. So it's just really cool that you are who you are, man, because, you know, we're all a community of people who love music. You know, we love this DJ culture. I'm happy that I got to meet you because of the person that you are. Whether I spend with you, I don't give a shit. You know, you're pushing a culture forward. You're being who you are. And at the end of the day, this is who I was when I was 14 years old. You know, this is who I was when I went to college. When I got out of college, like we have a commonality, man. You know what I mean? Like, and so that craft and art of DJing is just the coolest shit. Like I didn't meet him as a professional. He got into DJing. I don't give a shit that he's a dentist. Damn, you playing some dope music, man. What the fuck, you know? And so friendships actually began. My best friends, I met through DJing. I met through DJing. Best friends
are DJs.
Some of my best friends are DJs. And so it's just really, I'm nerding out right now in real time.
I mean, it's really cool. Like, you know, like my wife had brunch for a friend of ours a few weeks ago for a birthday, and there was a girl there, and she's like, "Oh, your husband's Chris Villa," and my wife's like, "Yeah," and she's telling my wife that her husband now, like I pretty much sparked that relationship because when I was DJing, the guy came up to me and he asked for what was it? The Mambo number 5. And he says a little bit of Monica, and the girl's name is Monica.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't want to really play this song, but whatever. Like, I'll try to work it in. It was like a college bar. So I just played it, you know, and like fast forward, like now they have 2 kids and they're married. All because I played a song, you know, like stuff like that. Like
that's big.
The ripple effect.
Yeah, even with my event or just clubs in general, but I mean, really like with my event, what I've seen is just like my different friend groups coming together, and now we're all one big friend group, or relationships, you know, starting, and friendships starting, and family members that don't even see each other, that, you know, they come to this event and now they're talking again, you know, stuff like
that's
that.
A blessing,
so,
man.
That's
Be
cool.
behind that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Bring people together like that. You look like you're about to wrap it up.
I am.
I'm not going to let you do that.
I was about to ask if anybody got any questions
Yes.
before we let them go.
Tell me more about the playlist retreat.
Oh, cool.
I want to get there one day myself, so tell me about it.
Hopefully Jazzy Jeff does it again, but because it's very important.
Yeah. It's a gathering of DJs, producers, creatives at Jazzy Jeff's house.
Oh, yes. Okay, I've heard.
Yeah, so it's a invite only thing that he was doing pre-pandemic, and him and like he handpicks the talent from all over the world and brings them to his house. And I'm not going to put all his business out there, but it's over there on the East Coast. And, you know, we're put in teams, and we have some legends that are team leaders. You know, we're talking like Redman and Questlove and stuff like that, you know. And we just work on music and, you know, build with each other. There's all different kinds of like guest speakers, and all the dope brands are there to show the gear and stuff. But the main point is just to like collaborate, you know, and link people together. And
do you make music? You produce?
A little bit, but not anything that I'm like too proud of. I'm just a DJ.
Shout out to Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, but you know, like that was an experience of a lifetime, because you know, like he's the living GOAT, you know, like in my eyes and many other people's eyes, like he's still sharp, you know, he's still one of the best, you know, he's always, you know, reinventing himself and creating something and bringing people together. And like, you know, like that's why I say like there's no need to be cocky or whatever. Like, you know, I've seen the love that man is like giving everybody else, and and that's what it's really all about, you know. And it's just truly an experience of a lifetime to be like a Mexican American dude from Arizona, you know, like who literally used to like hunt down like Beat Street VHS and Wild Style at whatever, you know, Hollywood Video Blockbuster had them in stock across town, just to watch these, you know, hip hop tapes, relics or whatever. And then fast forward years later, and I'm in the same room as like some of these people, you know, Biz Markie or, you know, it's just, I couldn't believe it, you know. But the way I got there, and again, like, you got to humble yourself. You got to put the extra work in. So I was, at the time, I was a headliner. I was getting booked as a headliner at this big club in New Jersey called Dare. It was at the Hard Rock Casino in Atlantic City. And so they would fly me out, you know, and then I'd land in Philly, and then they'd have a chauffeur pick me up and drive me from the airport to the gig, and, you know, getting paid good money to do this gig. And
nice.
The guy who does the bookings is from Philly himself, and one day he posted a flyer with Jazzy Jeff that, you know, they booked Jazzy Jeff at this club, and again, like, my brain started, you know, turning, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm so tired of seeing, like, all my other DJ homies from California and, you know, LA or New York or wherever, all the big cities, like, DJ shows with Jazzy Jeff. I was like, he never comes to Phoenix. Never comes to Phoenix. I was like, but he's playing at a club that books me. So I hit the dude up, the talent booker at the club, and I'm like, hey, like, I just seen you book Jeff. I was like, do you need an opener? And he's like, are you serious? He's like, that would be, like, cool. You know, like, you have Chris and Jazzy Jeff on the same lineup. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm super serious. And he's like, well, let me tell you, he's like, I can't pay you what I usually can pay you. He's like, I'll still send a car for you. I'll still take care of your room. I'll pay you something, but it's not, you know, what I usually pay you. And you book your flight and you come out here. So I was like, done. Like, you ain't got to ask me twice.
Right.
So I DJ'd my gig the night before. I got home like at 3. I had like a 6 a.m. flight. It ended up getting delayed. So I ended up getting to the hotel like just in time to eat some dinner and do sound check. So I was on the run all day.
You run on fumes.
Yeah. And then to add on top of that, I get in to do the sound check, and they have the mixer, the 2 turntables, and on the outside of the 2 turntables are 2 CDJs. And they're like, oh, we didn't tell you can't play on the turntables. Like, those are for Jazzy Jeff only. I was like, and they're like, this club isn't designed, like, the DJ booth isn't designed for turntables. You know, there's too much vibration, and he has this new technology called phase, which, if you're unfamiliar with phase, it's like a digital needle dancer, you know. You know, so it's better with vibration and all that stuff. He's like, do you have phase? I'm like, nah, I don't. And they're like, okay, well, you got to play on the CDJs. So, you know, I'm a little dude as it is. And, you know, the thing is literally my whole wingspan.
It's expansive.
But I've DJ'd on CDJs a bunch of times before. So I know that, like, I can still do a good job. If anything, it's going to make me look even cooler because I'm, you know, doing it like this. So
you're still running out the mixer in the middle with the CDJs over here?
I start doing my set.
Damn.
And I don't even want to look up, you know, see him like walk in and get nervous or whatever. And then I just feel somebody on my shoulders, and it's him and like DJ Scribble. And he's just like, man, he's like, you killing it like that? And I'm just like, yeah, you know, like just trying to act cool, you know? And I end up doing my set. I stick around for a little bit, and then I have a 3 a.m. pickup back to the airport. So no, I don't even sleep in the room. I go all the way back to Phoenix, or 2-hour drive to the airport, you know, 5-hour flight or whatever back to Phoenix. I get in time to do a brunch gig at 11 a.m., which is like dead. It's like going from this, your whole dream come true to
those experiences
to this,
something
you
else,
know?
man.
And I'm DJing this brunch, and nobody's caring about what I'm playing. And I'm just like, what am I doing here? And my wife is having brunch at a table with some friends, and I get this text message, and it's this number that I don't have in my phone. And it's just like, yo, you killed it last night. Like, I do this retreat. I would love to have you as a guest. Oh, wow. You know, would you like to come?
That's fire.
And I was like, well, who's this? And I just responded, I'm like, who is this? And even then, like, I didn't want to be rude. I could kind of sense who it was, but I didn't want to be rude, or, you know. So, but I had to ask, and he's like, it's Jazzy Jeff, haha. He's like, do you want to come? And I'm like, man, yes. Like, you know, he's like, great. He's like, send me your email. I'll have my people reach out to you and send you all the info. And next thing you know, like, I'm on a plane going there and spending a week at his house, you know, amongst just great people. Like, yeah, they're legends, but just great people who share, like, it's
Love
like
for music,
you know, and not to say that like I can't relate to my friends, you know, who aren't DJs, but there's like when you get around people that just love music and love,
it's a different,
you know,
different
it's
vibe.
a different vibe.
It's a
You
whole
know, it's
different
like it's crazy. You know, it's like being in heaven on earth.
yeah.
But yeah, like that was such a great experience, and even like again, like how things all like tie in together, like the universe. Like I'm a fan of oldies, you know, like. And a lot of the stuff that we call oldies is, you know, the sound of Philly, you know, Gamble and Huff,
Yes, sir.
and that kind of thing. And guess who's the guest speaker one day?
Kenny
is
Gamble.
Kenny Gamble, you know. I was like, man, this is Kenny Gamble, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy.
You know, man, I got to tie in since we're talking about Jeff. So he inspired a lot of this here. And I had an opportunity to open up for him
Me
before I
too.
left Detroit. You did too.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we've opened up for Jeff, and the only regret I had was that I was off the tables by the time Jeff got to the gig. And I was like, damn, he ain't gonna never hear me play. Right? But he was so cool and gracious. He came right in the booth. Hey, how you doing? Shook my hand. He autographed a record of his that I had. He gave me doubles out of his crate, and he actually went into a house set,
Wow.
which I was surprised. I thought he was just going to be doing Peter Piper, but he went into some house, some disco. Then he did his, you know, hip hop stuff, and I was like, man, what was that tune you was playing? It was a white label. It was a house record. I can't remember what the name it was, but he was like, here, man, and he gave me the tune. It was a white label, so I had him sign it. I still got the tunes,
Oh, nice.
and it was like, so I'm an older cat, you know. And I'm like, wow, I got my Jazzy Jeff moment. You're a younger cat. You had a Jazzy Jeff moment. And we're utterly talking about the same damn thing, but just in a different time period. And when I saw Jeff, when I kind of saw into Jeff's world, pandemic, because that's when he put the cameras on. He's doing a live stream. He's doing the lunch thing or whatever. And I heard about the playlist retreat. And I was like, DJs inspire me, but I'm competitive too. Just in everything, you know, it's just naturally, right? So I don't want to battle Jeff, but in my mind, I was like, damn, he's doing a lot of shit. Damn, he's opened up to the DJs. Damn, he created a retreat. So I started having, before you got here, I started having little events at my house, and one of my bass players, who was playing on some of the tracks that I was playing, he knew all these old school artists. So there was an old school concert in town. And he was like, Steve, man, these artists don't have anywhere to go. They're just in the hotel until set time. He was like, maybe we could have them come over to the crib. So he has like Lakeside and Cameo. And he's like, they want to eat. They hungry. Can we come over for food? And I was like, they gonna come to my house? But I got my daughter right now. So me and my daughter, we went to the grocery store. We buying chicken and beer and hamburgers, right? And we get back to the house. Not to take over the interview, I'm sorry. I just
No, it's a good story. Go ahead.
We go back to the house, and they got there early. And so we're taking groceries out the car, and it's Lakeside, helping with the groceries. And we walking in the house.
That's wild.
And I was like, we about to set a party, and we start cooking. So I'm like, well, who's good on the meal? Who's good on? And so they making sides, potato salad, and I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I need to be filming this shit. I'm like, damn it. But I don't want to be like,
Microphone.
I don't want to like mess the moment up. I don't have any cameras there. I don't have any, I'm not ready for this moment. This is not live streaming. This is, the pandemic hasn't got here. So I just decided to stay in the moment. And they're like, well, we didn't know you had a pool here. So I'm going up there getting shorts. I didn't tell you the story. And they throwing on shorts and they're jumping in the pool. And I'm just like, I got on YouTube and I Googled Fantastic Voyage. I was like, in the Fantastic Voyage. That's the drummer right there. Okay, that's the. I'm like, that was back in '78. But you're older now. But that's you.
Right.
It was both.
Yep.
And I'm geeking out. I'm like, how in the fuck are these people at my house? I'm tripping. I'm like, I almost want to cry because I'm having this geek out moment. And then get this, bro. I show them my lab. This is at my old house. I had a studio upstairs, and they wanted to see the studio. And so I take them upstairs, and a jam session breaks out because I got the keyboard hooked up, and the keyboard starts playing. And they just started jamming. And by this time I got on, I had to pull my phone out. It's on an old phone, but I started videotaping this thing. And I'm like, this is how stuff happens. This is how a playlist retreat happens. You have a band here. And then they were like, well, next time we in town, let us know, Steve. And I got these dudes' numbers in my cell phone to this day. Because I'm like, oh my God, if I could ever set something off.
Yeah.
I know this person. And then, wow, I met Chris V. And you just start. And I'm sure this is what Jeff did, and Jeff's a famous person who knows all people anyway. But you got to decide to do something. Like, Tios and Tios doesn't happen until Chris says, okay, we're going to take it from here and set it off in a bar and set it off in a club and then tour it. Like, so I'm sitting here like, this is the playlist retreat tone right here. It's just, we got to invite some people. We got to make it happen. And this is how it happens organically. So as you were describing Tios and Tias, your experience with Jeff, how you ended up in the playlist retreat, is so inspiring, man, because I'm getting inspired by you, right? And so the younger cats like yourself, you reinvigorate an older cat like me. You know what I mean? Hearing your stories and sharing how this shit happens, because it's not through osmosis. You make something happen. Like, you put it out there in the universe, and then you got to act on it. Because a lot of people, they don't act on it. They just throw shit out there. Well, for me, I'm like, okay, what we going to do? Like watch when you leave here, my brain is going to start working.
God, yes.
It's working already.
Okay. All right. We're going to cook something up after this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, again, I mean,
thank you, bro.
You have to do things, because you can talk about it all day, but if you ain't doing nothing to contribute, like, it's just pointless.
Yep.
But
I am good. Unless anybody else got anything else?
I'm kind of curious. You know, we usually ask people like their first equipment and shit like that. Are there any songs that you don't like playing in your DJ sets?
that I don't.
Man. Any songs that you try to avoid? Like for me, I hate This Is How We Do It. I don't play that shit at all.
I like that song.
That's a floor packer right there.
Return of the Mac.
The scratches on Return of the Mac are dope.
They are.
Yeah, I
That's
forget
like-
which version it is, because there's like a couple different versions, but the scratches on it have always blown
That's
my
like
mind.
one of the only mainstream poppy songs that has like a scratch break in it.
Yeah. I don't know. I like to play I like to play everything, and I like I said earlier, like, it's just putting my touch on it. Like, I could play a Taylor Swift song, like, literally, but I can play it in a way that, I could make it comedy, or I could get a laugh out of somebody, or it's just all about how you play the music, and I'm a firm believer in, again, like, practicing your craft, practicing, like, even just the basics, like, I compare it a lot to, like, basketball is about having handles, right? Like, you have handles, there's so much more that you can do. And I see it the same way with DJing. But I mean, really, like, I don't like, it's not necessarily that I don't like playing anything. I just wish more people out there would just trust the DJs, and I'm open to requests and stuff like that. But it's like,
you don't want to be somebody's jukebox all night.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, if you come to a club and it's busy, you have to realize that club is busy because the DJs that DJ there have been doing a great job this whole time. So just sit back and they're going to play your song, and 9 times out of 10, the requests that we get are stuff that we're going to end up playing anyway. So
that's interesting, because I've seen it. The only reason why I say it like that is because I've seen it the opposite. You're playing, let's say you're playing top 40, and somebody walks up and goes, can you play David Bowie Fame? And you're like, there's nothing that you've heard. You see all these people like enjoying themselves. guarantee if I put that song on, the only person that's going to be out there enjoying it is you.
Yeah, and I've seen people do that, and then they don't even get on the dance floor.
Oh, absolutely.
They're
Oh,
at
that's
the
the
bar on their
worst.
phone. And
That's
I've
right.
seen that happen so many times.
like I'm
I
never
hate
gonna
that.
go to like a restaurant and like hold up my phone to the chef and be like, "Yo, more peppers" or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
just
Right. Yeah.
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 And then
But-
not eat the peppers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are some of the DJs you emulated or looked up to? Like, what are some of the scratches on some records that might have influenced you?
on records, like when I heard Outkast, Wheels of Steel, the scratches at the
love that.
end, you know, like those were dope. Anything that DJ Premier did, you know, what I loved about Premier, and I'm not saying by any means what he does is like simple, you know, but what I loved,
Effective.
well, what was complex, it was complex and simple at the same time, and it was musical
Yeah.
all at the
very.
same time, you know, like it's hard to make stuff sound that good, you know, on a record. And I don't even know if these words are coming out the right way and if I'm making
perfect.
sense. And I don't mean any disrespect, but there's just a certain flavor, even with like just like the line switch and the clicking noise
Yes.
and like
Yes.
things like not sounding like so perfect, you know, like when I've heard like some crazy technical difficult scratches on songs, and you know the timing is incredible, but it just doesn't sound funky. Like it just sounds a little boring. But
Yeah.
when I hear like some other shit that is like a little bit off or a little bit sloppy, or you know
Yep.
maybe they didn't cut it,
Yeah.
you know, as precise, that to me like gives it all the flavor, you know, and I love that. So I guess when I scratch, you know, like, and not to say what I do is simple, but I've always been a fan of like taking like a simple scratch, but like maximizing it. And people don't realize that you can do like a simple scratch, like simple by I mean like, you know, just like a chirp, okay? It's just pretty simple. Like you're just cutting it when you move it forward and backward. But what people don't do enough is like maximize that scratch. What I mean by that is like you can do it at different rhythms. You can speed it up. You can slow it down. You can, you know, freak them like so many different ways. And that's kind of like what I like to do with my scratch style, and, you know, make it sound musical. Because,
That's
you know,
the word. I was wondering if you're gonna get to the word musical.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many people that like say that like, oh, like it's just
Breaking down.
It just broke down. That's all.
DJing
Hold
is
it.
you know, scratching in particular is just noise, like wiki, you know, like, oh,
Right.
you DJ, like I used to hate
people
when I
walk
was
up
a
and
kid,
go,
yeah.
"You're a
When I was a
DJ?"
kid, and they just be like, oh, wiki. And I'm like, oh, man. So
Yeah.
my thing with scratching was like, I want to make my scratching sound so good and musical that like you can't say that about this, you know, at least when I'm playing, you know. So
Wiki
Son of-
won't apply to you.
A good scratcher, man, like yourself, is when you can hear the scratching and you don't feel like it interferes with or dominates the music, where it's like, damn, when they stop scratching already? Because I've heard DJs that are great scratchers. It's like, okay, you can stop now. I don't want to hear a scratch concerto. It's enough. You've done too much. This is not a battle. And I get it. And then you hear DJs where it's so musical. It's like, ooh, I wish you would cut some more. I can't wait till you
Right,
cut
yeah.
again.
yeah,
Damn.
and it's all about the sound that you pick too,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're picking clunkers, like, you know, like a hard snare or like a kick, like
Yeah.
that don't sound good, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you gotta be wise
Musicality.
with what you choose.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Any nerd questions from y'all? Are you good?
I don't have any nerd questions, man. I
Got
think I'm
anything you
good.
want to say, Chris?
Now, thank you guys for having me. I think it's very important what you guys are doing. I hope you guys
Appreciate it.
continue to do this. We need this, not just for, you know, Arizona, Phoenix, but for the whole culture overall, you know. And it's worldwide, man. Like the internet is like, it brings everybody together,
Yeah.
you know. Like
Chris, thank you for
Yeah.
showing up. Thank
We
you
appreciate
for
man.
not just lending your time, but lending your brand, bro, because Chris V is a brand. You know, as you start to build as a DJ, as an entrepreneur, as a company, there's a Chris V brand, you know, and it hit me because I know it was about excellence, which is why I wanted to have you here. And so by you coming on the show, you lend us credibility, and I want to say thank you for that. It's a
Thanks for
mutual
having
thing.
me.
So
Sure.
thank you so much, man.
Thank you
Does
guys.
Tios and Tias, is that its own, like, I know it's associated with Chris Villa, but do they find out about that on its own? So does it have like its own Instagram
Yeah,
page?
yeah. It's just
that's
Tios and Tias.
Okay.
Tios and Tias.
okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's my thing, but I just want people to come, man. There's so many people that don't even really realize that, like, this short Mexican dude is the guy behind it, you know, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Like, I don't need it. I just want everybody to come and have a good time.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming out.
For everybody in Arizona, this is a homegrown hero you guys have here in the midst. If you haven't discovered him, you need to discover him. He's Chris Villa again. We're so excited to have him here. But he's in the community. He's doing this local event on Sundays, that Tios and Tias. But follow him. It's worth it. And if you are at all into music or DJ culture, I don't think there's a bigger local hero than Chris Villa. So thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.